Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to the Washita Valley. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in the valley, and we have got a couple of things we're going to do today. So, first things first, if you watched the last extras video, you'll know that we were baling hay over on Jimmy's irrigated pivot, and I'm happy to tell you that I got that finished this morning, very very early in the wee hours. Finished baling that, so that is all done. This afternoon, I've spent some time bringing moving equipment, and the Fiat and the swather are over at Jimmy's next place that we're going to be working on. The walk back here, the 3020 and the rake are down by the shop, and the baler is down by the shop. I already returned the 7930 back to Kurt. I did that right after we got home from town this afternoon, and so that's all back, all good to go. Got the monitor pulled out of it. It was really quick, really easy. But now what we're going to do, if you haven't noticed, I've got the gator on the trailer. We're going to go over and meet Jimmy at his other place over by his feed facility. We're going to go over there, and he wants me to just kind of drive around these next fields and just sort of take a look at what we're going to be dealing with. So stay tuned. Oh, and by the way, if you couldn't tell from the thumbnail, today is the big day. I've already been talking to the truck driver today. He tells me he's about 2 hours-ish away. So there's going to be a big surprise towards the end of this video. So stay tuned. So, for those of you who have seen the last extras video, you'll remember towards the end of the video, I estimated how many bales I thought would be in that field when I was all done. And if you'll remember, I estimated that I would bale, altogether, that I would bale 1,200 bales off of that place. Now, bear in mind, I really had no idea. It was just a straight calculation from what I had done already to what I thought was left. I said it was 1,200 bales. Lo and behold, when I finished that place and I emptied out the baler, 1,192 bales. So my estimation was off 8 bales, which I think's pretty decent. And when you do the math on 1,192 bales and swathing and raking 135 acres, when you do that math, you come to just over $14,000. $14,000 to swath, rake, and bale that place for Jimmy. I'm pretty excited. Let's get out. Let's go talk to Jimmy. I think he's over in his truck. We're gonna go talk to him. We'll get the gator unloaded, and we'll go take a look at this. We'll go take a look at this place that he's got that's right here across the highway. Good Sunday afternoon, Cussler. You look like you missed some sleep last night. Afternoon, Jimmy. I finished up this morning about 3 o'clock, so it wasn't too bad. After church, we went to town for lunch, and when we got back, I took a nap. I don't know if it was too long or not long enough. I know what you mean. I swore off taking naps a long time ago, 'cause I always seem to wake up in a worse mood. So how many bales did you make all together over at the house? Well, all total, including the hay and the grass that got wrapped, I baled 1,192 bales. That's a mighty big check that'll be coming your way. Yeah, that's what I kept telling myself as I went back and forth with the swather 16 feet at a time. Any idea how this place is going to yield? Oh, I've got a real good idea. But what would be the fun in that? That's why I asked you to go take a look at it. That, and I want you to know where all the holes and washouts are before you start cutting it. Holes and washouts? Yeah, that pivot at the house spoiled you. Nice, long, straight pulls, good irrigated grass, and smooth running. It's not going to be quite that easy over here. No, I can already tell cutting and baling this is not going to be as efficient as your pivot was. Anything I really need to look out for? Mostly the problem areas are down towards the creek in the alfalfa fields. Just make your way around the edges and you'll find the washouts. I just don't want to see you tearing up any of your equipment, especially if you're going to be running in the dark. Okay, well, I'm going to get at it. My new-to-me tractor should be showing up in the next hour or two. Matt's going to meet me at the co-op and help me unload it. Is that right? You don't even have that big check yet, and the money's already spent. That's right. I guess it's progress, though. Yep. It takes money to make money, Cussler. Okay, Jimmy. I'll see you later. Alright, so here we go, folks. Hope you don't mind. We're going to do this from the air. I kind of want to get an idea of what this looks like from the air as well as from the ground. So, Jimmy actually owns the area over the little patch of grass over to the left, and he owns this field right here. Now, this right here is the grass field that we're going to be cutting, but this grass field is actually just a native grass. It's kind of like just kind of like a pasture. There's some Bermuda in here. There's some native grass. It's just kind of a mix. This hasn't really it hasn't really ever been like cultivated, per se. It's just kind of the natural grass that's grown over the years. I think maybe at one point or another, maybe it got sprigged to Bermuda, but there's, like I said, there's some other grasses in here now. There's probably some crabgrass in here. It's just kind of an uncultivated sort of a mix. So this alfalfa field that we're coming up to here is one of the 4 alfalfa patches that we are going to be cutting here for Jimmy. I think I'm actually gonna. We'll start here. We'll go around the edge here. So I think altogether, Jimmy's got about 80 acres of alfalfa in these 4 patches. There's 3 patches here, and then there is another patch down past the feed yard and kind of around the curve. That's just a small patch. It's like, it might be 5 acres. It's really not very big. The majority of the alfalfa is up here on the hill. So we've got this little patch right here that I think is seems like this one's maybe around 18 acres. And then there's a big one in the back that you can't see from the highway. It's the biggest patch, and I think it's about 30-ish acres. And then there's another patch down on the other side of these trees that is, I think he told me it's about 9 acres maybe. So it's just kind of a mixed bag up here. And I don't think, from the way Jimmy's talked about this alfalfa, that it's gonna be just a a blockbuster yield. I think that it's an older stand, and it's kind of, I think it's kind of patchy in some spots. So it's kind of going to be just, it is what it is, sort of thing. You know, he told me that the bad spots were going to be kind of down here along the edge of the creek, but I really haven't seen anything all that bad yet. You know, one of the things, you know, as you heard Jimmy and I talking about, this is not going to be anything like cutting and baling that pivot, because this is up on a hill, it's kind of down off the side of a hill, and just depending on which field I'm in at the time, it's just, I don't know, it's just not going to be very efficient, because there are very few straight lines. There's going to be very few like long pulls. I'm just sort of going to have to see what it's like when I start cutting this, as to what the best way to cut this is going to be. It'll be interesting. I'll say that. Another interesting thing about this place here is that everything we do here is going to be baled for hay. So Jimmy asked me, you know, how many bales did I bale? I think he was just kind of doing that for show, because he already knew. We talked about it this morning. He sent me a couple of texts and kind of wanted to know what I had come up with, because he had already counted, and he came up with the same thing I came up with, which is what the baler monitor said, 1,192 bales. But everything here, including the alfalfa, we're going to let it dry to the point where it's going to be baled for dry hay. So the grass is going to be actual hay, dry hay, and the alfalfa is going to be, we're going to let it dry to the point that it will be baled for dry alfalfa hay. So there's going to be no bale wrapping happening over here. He got enough bales off the other place, and it was high enough quality forage that he said, nah, we'll just wrap everything that I need to wrap off this place. That'll be plenty, and we'll just bale all that stuff over there for hay. So the wrapping of the bales and the you know, higher moisture, that 40%, 55% moisture is going to be, oh wow, man, that's a big ditch right there. That must be one of the places that Jimmy was talking about. I can see that goes up into the field quite a ways. I'm gonna have to kind of watch that. But anyways, that higher moisture stuff, we're done with that for now. It'll all be dried down. This will all be dried down and baled for dry hay. Oh wow, there's another one. Good grief. I don't know how. Man, look at that. God, that is a big washout. This is not exact. I mean, these are not exactly what I would call prime hay fields. Man, that goes way up into the field too. Like those things like that, I don't know how I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna cut those. I mean, that's pretty wicked. What I may have to do is actually like go parallel with it, kind of up through the field, like at least one windrow on each side of it. That way I can kind of, you know, when I meet it, when I'm going around, like doing the outside rounds, whenever I meet it, I can just lift up and just go over the whole thing. Because if I run my sickle into the other side of that, you know, into the side of it, it's not gonna be cool. Man, that's a serious wash right there. That goes all the way up to the top of the hill. Yeah, this is not really going to be, this is not going to be a good time. I'm going to earn my money over here, I'm afraid. And here's another one. Man, this is another giant one. Gosh. Well, that one actually might not be quite so bad up in the field, but yeah, that's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a good time. Oh man, here's another one. Holy cow. Man, that's a bad one too. And it goes, man, it goes up on top of the hill as far as I can see. This is going to be interesting. Well, you know what I may have to do is, you know, if it looks like I'm going to be cutting, you know, later in the day, I'm not going to be doing cutting today. I'm going to start cutting this place tomorrow. And I think what Jimmy wants me to do, or what we talked about before, is to cut all this grass first, and then go to the alfalfa. You know, from the aerial view, you don't really get a full appreciation of how hilly some of these fields are until you actually, and you know, until I go back to, you know, the camera in the cab, and you can actually see what the elevation changes are like here on these fields. So this back here, there's some grass back here, and I guess there used to be a fence. If you noticed back there, you know, as we were going along the last edge of that last alfalfa field, the alfalfa goes in a straight line towards the north. And I guess you know, a couple years ago, Jimmy went in and he tore out the fence that fenced this pasture off. Because I guess when he was telling me when he planted this alfalfa, there was still a fence like right here, and the fence divided the pasture that we're sitting in and the alfalfa field. Because I guess that's a straight line. Here's a straight line that goes down to the corner. So yeah, there used to be a fence row right here to my left, and there was a corner right here, and that's why this there's kind of a straight edge here, I guess. Yeah, so far honestly this doesn't look too bad at all. This is a lot more gradual than some of the places in that other alfalfa field. But back here it may get bad, because this is pretty steep. Whoa, this is really steep. Yeah, I'm thinking that this might not be so good. Man, look at that hill. That's a big one. It may take all the Fiat's ponies to mow up and down that thing. Yeah, so here's one. Ooh, that's a big one too. That's a real big one. Yeah, and it goes way on up there too. I'm gonna have to watch that. But still, for a field this size, that just having one of those is really not too bad. I'll take it. Of course, I don't know, you know, there could be some of those washes up on the sides of the hill that you really can't see from here, that don't actually run all the way to the creek. Really, I'd say overall, this stand is pretty good though. I mean, it's like, if you look here, we'll get out for a second. I mean, if you get out and you walk around in it, I mean, it's kind of thin, sort of looking. I mean, you can easily look down and see the ground. So yeah, I don't know. Let's walk up here to the top of the hill. Let's see what it looks like. It's pretty easy to walk through, which is not that great. Good alfalfa, you know, like some of Steve's alfalfa. You could barely even walk through it. It was so thick, and pretty much everywhere. So yeah, you can see we're on a pretty big hill here, and we're not even at the top. And I don't even think what we see there, that's not even the top either. It actually, I think it keeps going. Once you get to that hump, it even keeps going even higher to the east. So yeah, and so I think I don't know if that's what that, you know, we see over there where that red truck just went by. I don't know if that was the first field that we drove through, or if that's the next field we're going to drive through. I almost think that's the first field where you can see up there. You can see the cars on the highway. I think that was the first field, because the third field we're going to look at is through that is right here through this water gap in the creek. And I don't know who that owns that over there across that part of the creek. I don't know. You know, Kurt owns some land up by the Krieger place, and then Steve owns that little alfalfa patch there along the highway across from Mom and Dad. But yeah, I don't know who owns that. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, I'm not gonna go around that way. We're just gonna go through here and check this third one out, and then maybe on the way to the co-op we'll just drive by that other one, and you guys can see what it looks like. So that looks pretty flat over there, so I think what we're gonna do is go this way. We'll go this way around the field. Ooga! Yep, there's one. That just kind of dropped off from out of nowhere. So there's one. Let's watch that. And that just snuck up on me. I had no idea that was even coming. Now here it looks fairly flat, except for right here, and I bet there's going to be another wash. Yep. Oh man, that's a wicked one too. That's going to be fun on the tractor. Yeah, that might even have two branches up there. So I got a big check coming to me. It's a little over 14,000. Is because for the swathing and the raking, remember I charge by the acre for that. And we'll just run down the highway here back to Jimmy's. For the baling and the raking, I charge by the acre, and so the charge for the baling or for the swathing and the raking, I charge per acre. So the charge for that on Jimmy's pivot is about $2,700. That's exactly what it is. Actually, it's $2,700 for 135 acres. And for the bales, if you'll remember from previous videos, that baler that I'm using is not my baler. That's Rusty's baler. He kind of helped me out. Well, in exchange for me using his baler, basically for rent, he gets $3 out of every bale I bale. So you know, Rusty, or Jimmy rather, he's paying me $13 a bale for each bale, but Rusty gets $3 of that for baler rent, basically. So actually Rusty is going to make out pretty good on this whole deal, because I already owe him over $3,500 just from that one field. So he's, don't get me wrong, I couldn't have done this without him helping me out and letting me rent his baler from him. I wouldn't have even had the opportunity to do this job. But at the same time, he's going to make out quite well, because I'm sure, like, it wouldn't surprise me if he's, if I owe him close to $5,000 by the time I'm done with these places here. So he really helped me out, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, he's going to make a pretty good chunk of change off this, what's going to end up being 2 weeks worth of baler rent. But anyways, all right, I'm going to finish loading this thing up, and I'm going to shoot the truck driver a text, see where he's at, and we'll probably just head on over to the Laredo Co-op to meet Matt and the truck driver. Alright, so I spoke to the truck driver, and he said that he said his GPS said that he would be at Laredo in about 10 minutes. So he was pretty close. And by his description of where he was at, I would agree with the GPS. He should be there. He actually might beat me there. So I hope you guys are ready for the big new tractor reveal. I am pretty excited to see it. I haven't seen it yet, except for in pictures and just a little tiny bit of video. And I'm also kind of interested to see what the surprise is going to be, because the guy told me that he was thrown in kind of a bonus. So I don't know. We'll see. So the little alfalfa patch that Jimmy has is right down here. It's on the back side of his place here that he has, because this is still Jimmy's place here to the left in these trees. So the alfalfa patch should be right here on our left, I do believe. Yeah, so this is it right here. Like I said, I think it's I don't even think it's 5 acres, to be honest with you. It's just a tiny little patch down here in the bottom. So anyways, that's the extent of the alfalfa. Well, I got a text from the truck driver a few minutes ago that said he was at the co-op, and I just got a text from Matt a minute or so ago, and all it said was, "What in the world?" So this ought to be pretty interesting. Get ready to meet the latest addition to the fleet. That's a sweet old cab over. So, if you can't tell already, what we've got here is a Deutz Alice 9190. It's got, let's see, guy told me it had about almost 2,500 hours on it. It's got a set of duals for the back. It's a front wheel assist. Let's get this thing unloaded. Hey Matt, what do you think?
Well, Gus, that's an interesting choice you made. I have to say, knowing you, I was expecting something green and yellow.
The problem with the green and yellow stuff is it takes more green to procure it. From the looking I've done in the past several days, it would have been about triple the money for a green and yellow of this size in our range.
There used to be a handful of these Deutz around after Alice Chalmers sold out. I think they did alright, but the die-hard Alice folks around here always had kind of a bad taste in their mouth about the whole thing.
Yeah, I've read up a little on Alice and Deutz. It's a shame about what happened to Alice Chalmers. They had some really interesting prototypes almost ready to go when they ended. It was likely that they would have been the first company with a 200 plus horsepower row crop tractor if they'd stuck around.
Speaking of horsepower, what's that thing got in it? Give me the rundown.
Well, it's a 91 model. The first year they went back to orange paint. It's got an air-cooled, turbocharged Deutz six-cylinder. I believe it's a 9.6 liter. It's supposed to have right at 200 engine horsepower. But the guy that owned it was a former Alice Chalmers dealer, and he told me that this tractor might have a bit more than what it had from the factory. It's got an 18 speed that's a partial power shift. It's got a 1000 RPM PTO, so no using it with the swather, but it'll be perfect for a big baler, and since it's big enough to handle some real tillage equipment, I won't have to borrow Kurt's tractor so much anymore.
What about the GPS system?
What GPS? It's a 91. Nobody had GPS back then.
I know, but if you look at that little white box on the front of the roof, and if you take a look inside the cab, like I've already done, you'll see the screen for it is already in there. Looks like one of the newer Trimble units. Pretty slick. It's probably worth half of what you paid for the tractor.
What? No way. Well, alright everybody, meet Alice. So as it turns out, Matt was right. It's got a GPS system on it. I called the guy because I thought there must be some kind of mistake, but he said no. He said he'd had the GPS installed on the tractor about a year ago, and he said rather than take it out, he just left it in there for me. Matt was right again. It's a newer Trimble unit. It's got it's got like a 12-inch touchscreen inside, and like I didn't know what to say. I mean, I called the guy and I was like, man, there's some mistake. There's a GPS still on this tractor. He's like, no, left it in there for you. It's all yours. Enjoy. Just it's a good tractor. Just take care of it. He was telling me something about it. I guess it's there's a retrofit kit that ties in with the steering system. So this tractor's got auto steer. It's got auto steer. It's got implement mapping capabilities. So like, this is awesome. From what little bit I've kind of looked, I think Matt's probably right. I think it's probably a $10,000 GPS system in this thing. So like I was not expecting this when the guy told me he was sending a bonus. I thought maybe he was gonna send some fuzzy dice for the rear view mirror or something, But pretty incredible bonus gift that the guy sent. So we got the duals unloaded off the back. I think I'm going to leave the duals off for right now, just because I need to take this thing to the house and start getting the monitor for the baler put in it so I can use it. I'm going to leave the duals here because we'll need a forklift. Well, it'll be way easier to put the duals on with a forklift, so I'm just going to stash the duals here for now, and maybe once we're done with the hay baling, we can come back. We can bring it back over here and we can put the duals on it. But for now, I'm going to get the truck driver paid, and we're going to get this thing off the trailer. The chains are all off. It's ready to drive off. I'm going to pay the truck driver. He's going to get out of here, and we're going to roll this thing down the road. All right, so here she is. I'm a poor man again. The bill for bringing it down here from Iowa was right at $2,000. It was like $1,998, I think, is what it actually was. So as you can see, we've got a GPS screen in here. I'm going to start it up for the first time. I waited for you guys to do it, so here we go. We're gonna start this thing up. Busted right off. Now if the AC just blows cool, we'll be in business. Well, I think so far pretty good. The AC does in fact blow cold, so that's a plus. On the downside, the digital readout for the engine RPMs and the PTO RPMs and the acres per hour computer there you see on the top right hand side of the dash does not seem to be working. And although you can't tell it right now, but if I switch off the flashers, the left hand turn signal continues to flash. So I called the owner, told him that it made it, and I was quizzing him about the the digital readout there on the top right and the blinker light, and he said that he didn't know anything about it, that it was all working fine whenever it left his place, but he said that he suspects that en route something in the dash, maybe a connector or something like that, may have rattled loose, and he told me that when I get ready to fix it, to give him a call, and that he would kind of walk me through some of the things to look for. He asked me, okay, so the gauges on the dash, he said, do those work okay? Because he said, really, as long as they work okay, you should be able to use the tractor, and you shouldn't really have any problems. He said, just run the throttle all the way, almost to the throttle stop, and your PTO should be the right RPM. But he says as long as you have like the oil temperature gauge, the oil temperature gauge, and the oil pressure gauge, and the like, he said you should be fine to go ahead and use it. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of on the inside of an aquarium because there's so much glass here. It's kind of amazing because back in '91, like John Deere, for example, their tractors of this size, like would have been like the 4960 and the 4860, they would still be using the Soundguard cab, which is a lot smaller than this cab is. So the cab is in great shape, except for the instrument panel, not working completely. The tractor's a little slower than I thought it would be in road gear. But overall, I gotta say, so far, just on the drive over, I'm pretty impressed. The thing sounds great. It's got a great engine sound. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm about to. Matt's gonna come and come pick me up here in a second. He's gonna take me back over, and I'm gonna grab the pickup and the gator. And when I get back, I'm gonna start putting the baler monitor in this thing so that it'll be ready to bale whenever I need it in the next few days. What do you think about the longer videos? I've got my videos lately have been a little bit longer. Tell me what you think. Are they too long? Are they just right? I want to know what you think. So thank you very, very much for watching. If you like this video and this is the first one you've seen of my videos, go back and take a look at some of the others in the series, and you'll kind of see how I got to the point that I'm at now. Thanks for watching. For all my loyal viewers out there and my subscribers, thanks so much. Things are really gonna get interesting now because I've got some good hay equipment. I've got a big tractor now, it's gonna be good. So stay tuned. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.